Hey everybody, welcome back to my book chat channel. So this is another book review. As I said earlier in the week, or rather last week now, I would be doing a small book review in between the books that I had lined up in my recent preview. Just excuse the kids in the background. Anyway, so this one is a book review for Harper Collins Canada, and the book is called All the Good Little Girls Keep Quiet by k.kibbee. I hope I said the last name properly. So a rather short synopsis, and then we'll dive in from there. So yeah, maybe it was a little devil sitting side saddled on her shoulder that turned Olive into a murder hitchhiking train hopping vagabond at her tender age of 13, or maybe, just maybe, there was a few secrets itching to claw their way out of that bayou along with her. Okay, so that was really, really short to the point, but it's the only synopsis I can seem to find at the moment, so we just kind of go with that. So this was a rather short but heartfelt story that gave some perspective on how a teenager coming into their own may feel with everything going on around them. So those things, ranging from being the eldest among the children, being the only girl, feeling the pressures of having younger siblings who get away with murder, battling the burdens that go along with the family troubles, and having a better understanding of what that means, dealing with the family's past histories, and then going on with other challenges of high school and just simply growing up. Whether you choose to remember what it's like to be 13 or not, growing up at that age is not exactly a walk in the park. From a teenager's perspective, you grow up with an idea that your parents know everything and, they are the protectors of the world. And then suddenly, the age changes and all of a sudden your parents are, the devil's incarnate. They don't let you do anything and they have to put more responsibility on you. And, if you're the eldest, sometimes the baby gets more attention and, there's a lot of changes, and that's just in the home, and then trying to figure yourself out, and then dealing with school. And with schools, there's it's not just book learning and learning how to read, write, and arithmetic. It's a lot of other pressures as well. It's dealing with peer pressure and dealing with other people around you and your teachers even, trying to satisfy all the different demands that the school puts on you. And every single teacher has their own criteria and what they want and what you have to do, and trying to fit in and all those things. And it's a lot for one person to go through, and we all go through it in one way or another. And sometimes it's easier for that person and sometimes it's not. We all have different variances of degrees of this, and this story, I think, put a good spotlight on what that would be like from the perspectives of a young 13-year-old teenager. Um, you know, so I felt most definitely that this was, um, a good view into that. I did find the pace of the story just a little on the slow side, but personally, that could just be the fact that I've been reading a lot of different types of genres right now, and of all the ones that I've been reading, this is definitely a complete change of pace. So, for me personally, like I said, I found it a little bit on the slow side, but simple in its own way, and it was a pretty straightforward run to the end. Um, I'd have to say that the only reason why I gave this story a high rating as I did was simply because toward the end of the story, it actually made me feel something. There was, a point to the story that wasn't just ramblings for the sake of ramblings. I found that, I really connected, or rather, really just enjoyed some of the characters. I really enjoyed the grandfather. The grandfather I thought was absolutely amusing. And then a little bit at the end of the story, there's a I guess, a situation that revolves around a scrapbook, as you'll find out that, she collects postcards and she keeps them in a scrapbook. And toward the end of the story, she ends up diving more deeply into that scrapbook that she has and discovering that it held some secrets that she didn't know was there. So, upon discovery of those secrets and digging into that, she ends up learning more about her family and her history and a little bit about herself as well. And I have really enjoyed that part of it. I think it was my favorite part of the whole story. Mostly, again, because it really brought out some emotion. I began to feel something. I could empathize more with the mom in the story than anyone else, but also can empathize and see from the perspective of the 13-year-old girl. So I felt, like I said, overall it was a really rather heartfelt story. I thought it was really well descriptive, and it was written really well. So for those reasons, I've rated it a 4 out of 5, and I would definitely recommend checking this one out if and when you get the opportunity to do so. So again, I thank you all so much for tuning into this story, or rather than this book review. I will have another one for you up shortly. This week has just been absolute chaos, so toward the end of the week now, things are finally slowly starting to chill out, so I'll be able to finish up Midnight in the Pentagram. I'm about halfway through it, and I will have that book review up for you guys shortly. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Happy reading.